Hello, it's Connor from Brisbane FTV, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial Tuesday on the Ronin S. There is so much about this piece of gear that I'm mainly just going to be focusing on the initial sort of startups, a couple of the key features, and mainly how to weight it. If you do want to see more, leave a comment. We can make some really specific tutorial videos. So the Ronin S comes in a really well fitted box like this. You start off with the battery, which has around, I think it's like a 12 or 16 hour battery life, so it lasts for a really long time. It has a tripod support that you just screw into the base. Then you have the actual Ronin sort of main attachment itself that just clips right on top, and you just lock that off. Cool. So phase one done, the Ronin is standing. So today we're going to weight the 24 to 70 millimeter Canon zoom lens that we have at JMC with the Metabones adapter. It's a fairly heavy lens, but I just want to show you guys that you can weight something as heavy as this and it is going to work. Mainly favoring sort of the back half. They are numbered, so if you're trying to hit around the 6, 7, or 8 sort of mark, that's probably a really good area to start. Now when you weight it, make sure you weight it without the lens cap on. That is going to affect the weight. You slide it in from the front. Knowing what way to place this is you have a lens support that can actually screw into the front of the base plate. So that's a really quick and easy way to figure out what is the front of the base plate. There are mainly 4 parts that you want to focus on when you're balancing. First off, you want to figure out where this should sit. If I were to push it a little bit further back, it's going to be a little bit back heavy. If I push it forward, it's going to be dipping down too much. That's not what you want. You want it to have a nice sort of middle ground when you start weighting. So right now, that's pretty good. That's what we're after here. The next axis point you should do is the tilt axis right here. Some people might look at this and go, it's weighted correctly, but gravity's just getting a hold of it. At the moment, it is still way too heavy. It shouldn't be rocking like that. The motors are going to be strained far too much. So let's try and find that nice balance point. So that's what we're after, guys. I'm going to take my hand away, it stays. If I put it at another axis point, it stays. Another axis point, it stays. So that's the look you're trying to achieve. And that way you're not going to be straining the motors and you're going to get more longevity out of this piece of gear. So next we're going to move on to the roll axis, shifting that left and right till you find a balance point that has the same effect. So we just achieved that on the roll axis. Again, if it's slowly returning to a point or slowly dipping down, that is okay. It doesn't always have to stop. Now the last axis you're going to be doing is the pan axis. And the easiest way to do that, holding it outright. So what we have to do there is loosen off and shuffle this back. Now as you can see, I'm not holding anything and it's standing perfectly still on every single axis. That's how you know you've weighted it correctly now. And that's why it's important to do it in the process that we just did, because each of these sort of affect the next process. So it's nice to do it in that kind of order. What you should do then is test it in the app. So I'm gonna take you through that now. And while I'm doing that, a couple of facts about the Ronin S. It does have around about a 3.4 kilogram payload, so you can put a hefty amount on it. A couple of weeks back, I did weight the Red Epic on top of this. It was really stripped down, but I did manage to weight it. So it can take a hefty payload, but you always have to remember that if you don't weight the motors correctly, it is gonna put a lot of strain on them and they are gonna burn out. Now to power on the Ronin, it's sort of a 2-step process. You press the button down once and then hold. And once that's activated, you hold the on button, you hear a beep, and then it powers on. If you do need to charge, not if you do need it, when you charge the Ronin, it charges through a USB-C port, which is just right at the front here, and all that charging gear comes with it and it just plugs right in. Now, just so you can quickly look at the menu, we have an M button and it has 1, 2, and 3. Now what that means is that it'll cycle through 3 different presets that you have, and those presets mean how fast or slow it's going to tilt up and down, or if the pan axis happens through the joystick, or whether or not it happens through your wrist. So that's just a quick thing on that. And when you are mucking around with it as well, another quick tip is if you double press the front button, it's just going to reset it to that steady front on default. So to power off the Ronin, you do need to press it off at the top, and then you need to press the battery down once and hold down. It does come in 2 parts, so you do have to turn both of them off. If you just turn this top one off, the battery will still be active and you'll run out of your battery. Now, everyone should download the Ronin app. That is how you're going to find out if you have weighted it correctly. Now, when you jump into the front menu screen, you're gonna have balance test, and I want you to hit that immediately. Oh no, before you do that, when you open up the app, it's gonna tell you to Bluetooth sync with the Ronin itself. You just sync it, it's very straightforward from there. It has a lot of information on it. So you just sync it and you'll come to this screen here, and I want you to hit balance test. And we're gonna begin the test. Now what that's gonna do is gonna test all the access points that you have weighted with the main 3 motors, the tilt, the roll, and the pan. And that's just gonna spit out a bunch of numbers to tell us if we have done it correctly or if anything needs work. So this is just another way to find out that you've done it properly. Just like that, as you can see, the balance test has come out excellent on everything. You should always aim for shooting on excellent. That way there's not going to be any strain on the motors and your gimbal's going to last for a really long time. So that's what you're after. Now, to give you a heads up on some more of the other functions of the app, we might make a separate video on that, but there are possibilities for time-lapse modes, hyperlapse modes, remote control use with your phone, and there is the option to actually tether the Ronin to a camera, and you can actually attach the follow focus wheel on it and pull focus at the same time. For those of you that have seen one of our past Film It Friday videos, we use the 360 roll feature as well, which is a really awesome feature, and we enable that function through the app, and I typically set that on mode 3. And what that allows us to do is face the camera forward and spin. Really cool when you're doing music videos, so definitely use that in some of your shoots. So that's everything on the Ronin S in terms of weighting the gimbal itself. Again, if you have a lighter lens, it's going to be a lot quicker for you to achieve that, but still it can take a 3.4 kilo payload and you're going to be able to get that look with a bit more work. So get this out as much as you can, have a play with it. It will take a while to get used to. Even once you weight it, then there is the skill of actually operating it and using this on your shoots. I hope you guys stay safe, stay creative, and we'll see you next week. Cool, that's me. Woo!